And it's all steeped in the occult, guys. Deep within the occult. Black magic, sorcery, witchcraft, Satanism, all of that stuff was involved.
Now the government's even admitting to this stuff, which is strange. And now they're affirming what everyone's been saying all these years.
I always wondered, well, how in the world could you convince the entire world, all the nations, to fight against God?
We think in years or even decades. They plan ahead in centuries.
The globe model was really the foundation for the alien deception, the foundation for the Big Bang Theory, the foundation for the theory of evolution.
The evidence became so overwhelming that they couldn't put a lid on it anymore. Ronald Reagan said it.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
If something comes down from the sky, it's either angels, fallen angels, or the Lord Jesus himself. He convinces the whole world to attack the camp of the saints.
That is the bottom of the rabbit hole. That's the reason for globe model. That's the reason for alien invasion. Today they call us angels and demons. Tomorrow they'll call us something else.
We've been utterly lied to about our history and our origins through scientism. Our timeline is completely messed up. We have no idea who we are or when we are. And we barely even understand where we are, considering all the deceptions around, the heliocentric model and the rest.
Well, the real danger is the fact that we are heading toward a post-human apocalypse.
There may be a connection between modern-day abductions and the ancient tale of the Nephilim.
If we don't understand the Genesis 3:15 narrative, the Messiah will crush your head, you will bruise his heel. That is the gateway to the entire rest of the biblical prophetic narrative.
Pergamum. They're in the city where Satan's throne is. Satan is the Prince of Rome. The Prince of Rome is Jupiter. The Prince of Rome is Zeus, because Satan is Zeus.
The end game, which is Armageddon, is going to be the emergence of a new golden age in which the gods walk openly among mankind as they did in the world before the flood of Noah. And there's no stopping it. It will happen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Question the Narrative. I'm David Shane, and I've got my trusted co-host Ricardo with me today. And we've got a very interesting topic for you guys today. Today, we are going to talk about the alien deception. How you doing, Ricardo?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Doing fine. What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us again. And yeah, we do got a very interesting subject on our hands today. But before we get into all that, just want to say to all the listeners, thank you for all your support this past year. We just barely started out, guys, 30 some episodes now, and the feedback and support is phenomenal for just us being a new channel. And we just ask that you guys continue to share this information, get it out there to grow this community of ours, to grow the awareness of these things that we're trying to present to you guys in these days that we're living in, where it seems like everything just seems to be a deception and lies. So I just want to thank everyone for all your support, and we're gonna keep grinding, guys. We're gonna keep bringing you this content here as we've been, and so just continue to ride along with us. It's gonna be a fun ride, guys, for sure. I think that we don't realize how much we are just blessed with all this knowledge, if you will, and we don't claim that it came of ourselves either. The Lord Jesus gave us his spirit, and he's given us the wisdom and understanding, the spirit of Christ. And we just want to share with everyone else what's been given to us and bless everyone as we've been blessed. And just continue on this truth journey of ours, guys. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride for sure. We're in the year 2024, approaching 2025, and it's looking like 2025 is going to be even crazier than
Mm,
2024. And that's why we wanted to talk about this whole alien deception. I know there's been a lot of talk about the drones and the
yeah.
orbs and motherships, all this stuff. And we really just want to put your guys' mind at ease and let you know you do not have to fear or worry about an alien invasion. That is a huge deception, and they've actually been prepping us and pre-programming us to accept and believe in this fake alien invasion when it occurs. And it does look like, the way the Pentagon is coming out with all these UAP and UFO reports, and they're actually acknowledging them, that they exist. And we're not saying that there aren't things in the sky that we can't explain, what you call UFOs. We're just saying they're not extraterrestrial beings flying these aircrafts. There's not aliens. Okay. We live on a flat, stationary, geocentric Earth under a firmament dome. So there's no possibility of aliens visiting us from Mars or any other celestial body in the sky. If something comes down from the sky, it's either angels or fallen angels or the Lord Jesus himself. So you don't got to worry about an alien invasion. I guess what we're going to talk a lot about today is kind of the roots and of NASA and how that whole organization began and the people that were behind it in the very beginning. People like Werner von Braun, Jack Parsons, believe it or not, Ron L. Hubbard was involved, and it's all steeped in the occult, guys. Deep, deep within the occult, black magic, sorcery, witchcraft, Satanism, all of that stuff was involved with the founding of NASA and the founders of NASA. And let's not forget Walt Disney and Aleister Crowley actually plays into this in a big way. I think by the end of this episode, you guys are going to realize just how evil and deceptive this entire alien agenda really is and who's really behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back. I mean, Aleister Crowley was doing all his stuff in, was it like the early 1900s or something? That's over 100 years. So I mean, this is a long game plan. We think in maybe years or even decades. If you're wise, you want to plan for your future, think a decade ahead.
Yeah.
But Satan is playing the long game. I think they plan ahead in centuries, possibly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so they're playing the long-term game. Obviously, it takes time to desensitize people to a lot of these things because, like you said, now the government's even admitting to this stuff, which is strange because before they would look at you and say, "Nah, aliens aren't real. You're crazy." And now they're affirming what everyone's been saying all these years. And so for anyone who is awake, you would realize that this did not just happen. They just didn't realize, oh, yeah, they are real, actually. They were right all along. No, it's just that the evidence became so overwhelming that they couldn't put a lid on it anymore. And they're like, they throw us a bone. Oh, okay. Yes, they are real, but, whatever,
Yeah.
You have to have their story and their narrative.
Yeah. Their narrative, which you should always question. And that's why we named our podcast Question the Narrative, because the government and like he said, Satan is planning it. He's playing chess while most people are playing checkers. So he's thinking decades and centuries ahead. So this stuff has been planned for a very long time. I think has been in the in the playbook. It's been planned since probably the heliocentric model began. I think that's part of the purpose for the false heliocentric model, because without it, there's no possibility of aliens coming from other worlds. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
if we're on a flat, stationary Earth and under a firmament, there's nowhere for them to come from.
Mm-mm.
So the globe model was really the foundation for the alien deception, the foundation for the Big Bang Theory, the
Mm-hmm.
foundation for the theory of evolution. All of it. It all ties into the globe model, and that's why it's so important that you understand you don't live on a spinning water ball hurling through a space vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually ridiculous.
You were talking about the foundation and all that, and maybe this whole thing got springboarded with the globe model,
Yeah.
like you said, because you do need that for sure. I think possibly though, we've been talking about the little season a lot. If Satan has been released, we're in the little season. I think that this was a game plan all along.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knows, or we know what the book of Revelation says, and the Lord was going to come back again for the final battle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in his mentality, this was the best way possible, where, like we've been talking about, where this alien invasion, you can twist it to where you're actually thinking that the thing that's coming on the
Mm-hmm.
mothership is the bad guy, right? So I think that it's even much more than that, than 100 years ago. It might have been a couple hundred years ago now, maybe even 3, since
Yeah.
some may speculate 1776.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
interesting date, but yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to preface that real quick. I just think it was probably the plan all along, and it's really in a evil depicted way. It is genius, to flip the script like that. And but
Yeah.
you said, in order to make the alien stuff work, you need all these other stuff. You do need the globe model,
Yeah.
because if you don't have the globe model, then there's the aliens. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I'm actually glad you brought that up, because every time I used to read about the short season in the book of Revelation, I always used to wonder, I'm like, how? I mean, I know the devil's slick, and
Mhm.
cunning and very deceptive. But it says that he goes out and deceives all the nations and gathers them together for the battle of Gog and Magog. And basically, he convinces the whole world to attack the camp of the saints, to
Mm.
attack the Lord and the camp of the saints. I always wondered, well, how in the world could you convince an entire, the entire world, all the nations, to, how are you going to convince them to fight against God? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's impossible. I mean, I know people are dumb, especially some people, you know. There's a lot of NPCs walking around there that are just going to do what the government tells them to do. But how are you going to get everyone else tricked into attacking the camp of the saints? That's because they don't know they're attacking the camp of the saints.
Mhm.
They think it's an alien invasion. That's my theory anyways. That's how
Yeah.
he ends up pulling it off. Convince
Yeah.
the whole world that there are other worlds and other planets first. You got to do that first. Then you convince them that there are extraterrestrials and that they're a threat to us. Okay, you start making all these UFO sightings happen, and then drone sightings, and then pump the fear, get the hysteria and the fear going, and then one day whenever it actually does happen, like when New Jerusalem is descending, you tell the whole world that it's a mothership or, you know what I mean, an alien invasion. So the people that are attacking whatever's coming, they think that they're fighting aliens, just like the movie Independence Day. You know, when really they're attacking God.
Right.
You know,
That's why I said it's brilliant. And
it is.
you said how can you bring everyone together, which is nearly impossible. We have
Yeah,
so much division right now. Not even in our own country, in this entire world. They got
yeah.
race, they got gender, there's just politics.
Religions.
Yeah, religion, politics, all of it. And if you remember, we talked about this. I think it was a couple of presidents. I know that George Bush said it. I'm not sure. I thought Ronald Reagan said it.
He did.
Okay. So they both said it, that if there was an alien threat from another planet, we would all put our differences aside and we would unite together to fight against this opposing force. So
Yeah.
they've been talking about it for a long time now. So this really isn't a new idea that we're presenting to you guys. It's just maybe it's just been building up more and more. And honestly, I'm working on making a video on this on my YouTube channel too, but it all ties in. Like I said, back again, I know we keep harping on this, but it's the little season. If we're in the little season, like that guys is the bottom of the rabbit hole. You guys been digging down some rabbit holes. Well, dig into the little season, because that's the reason for everything, in my opinion. That's the reason for globe model. That's the reason for alien invasion. That's the reason for everything. That's the bottom of the rabbit hole, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, yeah, I would have to agree that that really is. And he knows he's, just got a short time. We don't know how long the short season lasts, obviously. Nobody does. But it does, the Bible does say it's short. And if Satan was loosed in, say, 1776, we're about to be coming up on his 250th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And just so happens they're planning this whole year-long celebration after Trump's in office to celebrate, the birthday of the United States of America. Not saying anything's going to happen on that day. I'm just saying it's weird. They're going to bring back the World's Fairs. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I don't want to get off
Yeah.
topic here, but so let's see. There's a quote that Aleister Crowley. No, yeah, let's see. Was that his quote or Lamb's quote?
It's a lot of people attribute it to him, but before we got on, I just noticed that it seemed like Lamb or Lama, like what you said. I've heard a lot of people call it Lamb. He was channeling this entity, and this entity, Lamb, actually told him this thing, and it was, today they call us angels and demons, tomorrow they'll call us something else. And he's saying they call us this, but tomorrow they'll call us these other things, which is interesting.
Yeah. So back around the early 1900s, they were called angels and demons. Aleister Crowley was big into the occult and Satanism, and he used to practice necromancy. He used to summon demons. And one of these demons that he summoned, he actually saw it. Saw it with his own two eyes, and he drew a picture of it. He drew a picture of what it looked like, this demon that he saw. And I guess, he was having conversations with these entities, and one of them, he's like, "What are you?" And he's like, "Well, today they call us angels and demons. Tomorrow they'll call us something else." He's talking about in the future. Well, the future's here, and now we're calling them aliens. When he brings this up, you'll see they look exactly like a gray, what we call grays, a gray alien.
You can see right here today, but on this one, it's saying today they call them angels and demons. Tomorrow they will call them something else. And it says Aleister Crowley said that. But you can see here on the left, this is the Lamb entity. And it looks exactly like on this other picture, the North Carolina abduction case sketch. They look very, very, very similar, as you can see. It's crazy.
Yeah, it
It looks
really
exactly
is.
like you said, those gray aliens.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely does.
This was a Reddit post, and this was just a brief summary or whatever of Aleister Crowley. And in this post, it says, from April 8th to April 10th of 1904, the occultist Aleister Crowley allegedly channeled a being named Iowas. So apparently, some people call it Iowas, and as we know, there's that drug ayahuasca. A lot of people trip out and see some crazy stuff on that, and it's just kind of like when we had Paul on the podcast, and he was saying that when people take DMT or maybe even mushrooms, like these psychedelic drugs, that they see these gestures. And it's kind of the same thing when people take ayahuasca, they all see the same thing. And so it's just crazy because they can't all possibly be just tripping out the same exact experience. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, they
It's
can't
just,
they can't be having the same hallucination. Not that many people.
No, it doesn't make sense. So I thought it was interesting that some people said that that name was Iowas, and so Iowas/lamb. But it says that this being claimed to be an angel and demanded that Crowley write down everything it told him. The end product of which became the tomb named the Book of the Law is filled with spells, philosophy, and discourses between the two. Through Iowas's teachings, it states that humanity would enter a new age, the Eon of Horus, in which Christianity is overthrown and take control of their own destiny as they see fit. So there you go. That's the plan.
Yeah,
Take away Jesus, take away Christianity, and then we'll all live peacefully forever and ever, without God, without Jesus.
yeah. Because yeah, that's worked well for us in the past.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And so, as a lot of people know, quote also attributed to him too is, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," and
Yeah.
I believe that was in that book as well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even. I haven't read it. I don't recommend it either.
No.
I know
Yeah.
some people have, and they've shared some stuff, but I mean, that's just kind of something. There's some things that maybe you probably shouldn't mess around with. And I think if you do, maybe if those people did, they were super prayed up. Maybe they were fasting a lot, just become really strong spiritually, because you have to be if you go. That's spiritual warfare. You're reading that
Yeah.
material. I mean, you're spiritual warfare right there.
Yeah.
And it's just not something to be taken lightly. Oh, it's just a book. It's just a book. What did they do in Acts? They threw all the books in a pile and they burned those things.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It wasn't
Yeah.
just a book.
No. No, it wasn't just a book. And like you said, when you mess with that stuff and you start reading it, you're kind of opening doorways to the spiritual realm. And some doors like that you don't want to open, because something may come through and attach itself to you that you do not want anything to do with, you know? That's how people accidentally mess around and get demon possessed.
Mm.
And demonic possession is real. I know for a fact it is. I mean, I've met people who had to be possessed by demons. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
just no way around it.
Yeah, and they actually, real quick, they actually, or I don't know if he gave himself the nickname or someone else, but he was nicknamed the Beast 666. I don't know if you remember that too.
Yeah. Yeah, he called himself the Antichrist.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a self-proclaimed Antichrist.
Yeah.
Which there's many, the Bible
Yeah.
tells us there's many, but he was definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he started this new religion that you were talking about a while ago. And I think now it's called Thelema. Or am
Thelema.
I pronouncing that right?
Is it Theosophy? Theosophy? Or that
Mm,
was Theosophy was what was that other lady? That other lady that she actually followed Crowley's teachings a lot too, and she became Blavatsky. What was her name?
oh,
Elena
gosh,
Blavatsky or something.
that sounds right. That sounds right.
Blavatsky, blah.
And yeah, Thelema,
Is that what it is?
Thelema. See, I had read this article on Jack Parsons. Well, actually, a few articles about him, and it says he was for those of you who don't know, Jack Parsons is the one who really got the Jet Propulsion's laboratory, the rocket science, off the ground for NASA. He was one of their very first, rocket scientists. And they say he was a self-taught. I don't know how you teach yourself rocket science, because there really weren't any classes for that back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got into that at a very young age. He was very heavily influenced by Aleister Crowley. In fact, he idolized Aleister Crowley, and he converted to Thelema, which is the religious movement founded by Aleister Crowley. And that's involved black magic, witchcraft, sorcery, necromancy. And this article I read says that Jack Parsons summoned his first demon by the age of 12.
Wow.
And it wasn't long after that where he starts getting all these new ideas for creating rockets and jet fuel and stuff like that. Yeah, it's crazy. He was, and you can go research this. It's easy to find this stuff on Jack Parsons. That's not even his real name. I don't know where Jack Parsons came from, but his real name. This is gonna trip y'all out. Marvel. His real name is Marvel Parsons. Let that sink in.
Yeah, where did you hear that from? Because I heard that just recently too, and that kind of blew my mind. But I'm curious where you heard that from.
I just read it. It's on his biography. It's like the very first sentence.
Bro, you can't make that up. You can't. His name is Marvel.
His name is Marvel.
Yeah,
And
I heard that from Aaron.
Okay, I may have heard this before and forgotten it, but I read it this weekend when I was researching this stuff. But he was a huge science fiction fan. He loved sci-fi. I believe he probably read a lot of L. Ron Hubbard's science fiction comic books and novels, because Ron Hubbard wrote tons of science fiction stuff. And he was also involved in the occult, but Ron Hubbard went on to found Scientology.
Mm.
But anyways, Hubbard, Parsons, and dang it, what's his name?
Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley and Werner von Braun are all and Walt Disney.
Yeah.
These people are all connected. They're all involved in the occult, witchcraft, black magic, sorcery, necromancy, Satanism, basically. And these are the people that basically founded NASA. And Werner von Braun is actually supposedly the father of NASA. But we know on his deathbed, he must have, or at least sometime before he died, I believe he converted to Christianity, because on his tombstone there's a Bible verse that's Psalms 19:1, which says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork." So he himself didn't even believe in this whole outer space, extraterrestrial nonsense, at least not, in his later years. He may have when he was younger, but I believe at some point he figured out that we can never get to the moon, Mars, or anywhere, because there is a firmament, a solid barrier that we can't get through. And he knew it, and he had it put on his tombstone so that the whole world could also know it.
Yeah, didn't you say, or what were you saying actually about something like he quoted something about aliens not being real, and now it's scrubbed from the internet or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So I can't remember if it was a book or a manifesto, something that he wrote, because I'm going to give y'all just a quick little bit of Werner von Braun's history. For those of you who don't know, because I researched him too quite a bit this weekend. He is a straight up Nazi scientist from Nazi Germany. And he was very anti Semitic, very much so. He hated Jews. I gotta watch what I say, but that's just a fact. It's on his it's on his biography. But so basically, during World War II, the United States brought him and I think 1,600 other Nazi German scientists, brought them back to America because they were brilliant scientists. They were highly educated. They were brilliant in their field, and so we brought them back over here. And those are the people that helped get NASA started. Just think about that for a minute. The agency that is getting $75 million a day in taxpayer money, the agency that faked the moon landing, that wants you to believe they have a rover on Mars, wants you to believe that there are aliens from other worlds. Yeah, those people are all steeped in, their roots go back to Nazi Germany and the SS. Those SS soldiers in Nazi Germany. Werner von Braun was one of those as well, or somehow involved in the SS. Can't remember. I'd have to go back and read it.
That whole thing right there, it was, if you guys are familiar, that was what Shane is referring to. That's Operation Paperclip. So that concept too, we had pretty much a whole episode on it with Big John, and we said, is America the Fourth Reich? Because they moved everyone over here and they just kept on going as business as usual,
Yeah, yeah, and the government actually pardoned, or they pardoned or they just dismissed or overlooked his war crimes. Werner von Braun was suspected to be guilty of war crimes, crimes against humanity. Like, don't worry about that. Just as long as you come back to the United States with us and help us get our rockets off the ground and help us deceive the whole world with space travel, just you come on home. We'll forget about all your war crimes. We'll forget you were involved with the Holocaust and all those.
What was all that called again? The trials that they put the people through around.
Yeah,
What
that's
was it?
called the Nuremberg trials.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Nuremberg trials. He was one
Yeah,
of the
because
lucky ones.
that proved, if what they're saying is partly true, okay? So that proves that it doesn't matter if you thought that you were doing the right thing, for a certain person, like say your job or whatever. It's like, well, I was just doing my job. It's like, well, yeah, that don't cut it, buddy. You did a lot of evil. Like that's not a good answer. I was doing my job. And that
Yeah,
that was that whole purpose there too, is to just basically cut that excuse right out of them. Because I mean, I guess in reality, if they didn't do it, they they would have got offed anyway, right? I mean, you
yeah.
disobey an order from them. I mean, forget about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hitler would have you executed in a heartbeat if you didn't obey his commands and his orders. But that was almost all of them. That was their excuse. I was just following orders.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing my job. Well, okay, you're still guilty of
Yeah.
mass murder and genocide. That's no excuse.
Yeah.
And
You know what's crazy is just going back to the Marvel thing, and JT would probably love this right here. He's the decoder guy, but in all these movies, it's just crazy how it almost brings you through a timeline in those movies, and they make it seem like, oh, it's good entertainment, whatever, you know what I mean? But I remember specifically in one of those, I think it was like a Captain America movie or something, where they went underground and they were talking to this AI computer that like stored his consciousness in the computer somehow. And he was actually a Nazi scientist too. And he's going into details. Oh, this is the paper. This is a Project Paperclip, and they're talking about this in the movies. You know what I'm saying? They're telling you exactly what it was, and it's just crazy because people think that that's just it's like made up or something. Like they don't understand that that was a real thing, because like throughout all those movies you had, you know, in the first Captain America where you had the um Hydra. They called
Yeah.
themselves Hydra in the movie, but you know exactly what they were meaning by the Hydra. You know, it was the Nazi regime.
Yeah.
And they, what's crazy is this is not talked about a lot either, but in that first movie they obtained this quote on alien technology, right? The Tesseract, and they were able to harness the energy of that and make these weapons, uh, vehicles, weapons, everything. And it's been speculated too that Hitler had this technology that no one else had. And
Yeah.
it portrayed that in that movie. And then what is Captain America? He's a super soldier, you know, and that was part of those experiments that went on with the Nazi scientists, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it in these Marvel movies, you know, the founder of all this, you know, the uh, JP Labs or whatever, blew himself up
Yeah.
in his own lab, you know, guy. Or maybe he, like we said, maybe they suicided him or something. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
interesting, but
Yeah.
they give you almost like a storyline in these movies, because it's, you know, Jack Parsons is messing with maybe these alien entities or something like that. And what are these things in the Avengers if they aren't quote alien, because they're definitely not human. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah. No, they're not human, and a lot of them have the ability to shapeshift, which we
Mm-hmm.
know angels can change their form, take on human form, or even they can probably take on any form they choose or want. But they also had, what was it, telepathy, or what's it called?
Like telepathic, speak to
They
you
were,
through
yeah, they were
telepathically.
telepathic. They could move objects without touching them. What's that called? Dang it,
I don't know.
I have to look that up. But yeah, those beings had powers, superhuman powers. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think so. They definitely weren't human. And why would aliens, you know what I mean, extraterrestrials, why would they have those superpowers?
Mm-hmm.
Unlike but fallen angels, angels and demons, they definitely have what we would call superpowers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
yeah, it's like
Hey,
Thor was the
yeah,
god of lightning, and his I guess his superpower was being able to throw lightning bolts and stuff like that. I don't know.
harness the energy out of the ether.
Yeah, back to, so you were talking about the Marvel characters and their
Mm-hmm.
superpowers and stuff. But do you remember in that Avengers movie where they were coming from? All these portals were opened
Mm-hmm.
up in the sky, right?
Yeah.
And then they start coming through these portals. Well, have you seen all these news articles lately that talking about the Pope? Pope Francis is about to open 5 spiritual portals that have never been opened before.
I haven't heard of that.
Dude, you've got to look into that. You've got to, yeah. So I think on Christmas, on the day before Christmas, he's supposed to open the tomb of Lucifer, which is some
Interesting. That sounds nice.
Yeah, that sounds like something the Pope should definitely do.
Sounds like fun. We should bring our family for the event.
Yeah. He's gonna open it, and I heard he's also gonna open the tomb of Saint Peter. No idea why. Some of this stuff they do every 25 years. It's a ritual, a literal ritual. But this other thing where he said he's going to open 5 portals, and that's the word he used, was portals, and in some type of spiritual ritual. And I think the timing is awfully convenient considering there's all these drones that are the size of cars and trucks being spotted all over New Jersey. There's supposedly an Iranian mothership off the East Coast that's sending these drones in. That's what the Pentagon said. And then the White House come out and said, no, it's not Iran. Yes, there are drones, but we don't know where they're coming from or what they are. And then there's all these orbs, these just bright orbs of light that people are seeing in the sky. Most of them look like stars, from what I can tell. They look like defocused stars through like a Nikon camera or telescope, whatever it is people are using. Some people use a little bit of both. I know I do. But anyways, yeah. So right about the time all this stuff's happening, we're seeing UFOs, we're seeing drones that are the size of cars, and we're seeing orbs. Now the Pope wants to open 5 portals. 5 portals in some kind of a ritual that's never been done before. And, all these sci-fi movies and sci-fi films, they've been prepping us for this for decades. That's why they come up with all these movies, because the more you see it on TV, the more likely you're going to believe it when they tell you to believe it in real life, even though it's not true. You know what I mean? That's just part of mind control. It's repetition is a big thing in mind control and brainwashing. It's just showing people the same images over and over, repeating the same rhetoric or, the same stuff over and over. It sticks in your mind, and eventually, there's this old saying of what the eyes see and the ears hear, the mind believes. And that's so true. People believe that we actually went to the moon because they
Yeah.
saw it and heard it on TV. It's brainwashing 101. And most people are completely oblivious to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, just going back to what we were talking about with the propaganda, and one of Hitler's main propagandists was Joseph Goebbels. I don't know if you've ever heard of that name before or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so Joseph Goebbels was one of Hitler's main propagandists, and a famous quote that he said that if you repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it, and
Yeah.
you will even come to believe it yourself. Like these people, like they're selling it to you that like eventually they believe their own slop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I've known people in real life that were just such pathological liars. Eventually, they started believing their own lies because it just kept telling you the same lie over and over. And you could tell, like, at one point, man, you believe that yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
You know? Uh,
Yeah, I mean, so that's exactly what you're talking about right there. Like just keep telling the lie over and over and over until eventually it's acceptable.
yeah. Yeah. And we saw that. The whole world witnessed that during COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did they keep repeating over and over? Safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and
6
effective.
feet, 6 feet.
6 feet, 6 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 666 everywhere. Sixes. They like the sixes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's
No, I mean
crazy.
it's the as wonderful as we are in our minds, as God created us, and as intelligent as we can be, we could also be manipulated just as easily, which I think that all of that too, that is that's probably Book of Enoch stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when they were taught to war and stuff, like we weren't supposed to do that. When they were taught to make weapons and all this stuff, I think that's like this whole like split personality stuff that they do with people and brainwashing. I think that's all satanic too. Like that's Book of Enoch, fallen angel type Nephilim. You know, like we didn't learn that ourselves because it's too complex. Like to be able to split someone's personality or to do something like that's satanic. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's not a man's doing at all.
Not at all. And, there's a lot of cases where it's not just a split personality, but an individual might have 7, 8, 10 personalities. That's 10 different demons. It's not 10 personalities. It is 10 personalities, but it's because the person is possessed by that many different daggone demons, And just like, what's that movie where the beast is in it? That guy's holding these girls, hostage down in that dungeon. He's got all these different personalities. One of them's like a kid, one of them's a woman, one of them's this tough guy, and then one's this, this guy that acts like a sissy. But that last personality was called the Beast. And when he took on that persona, that personality, not only did his personality change and everything about his speech and everything, but he grew. He got more muscular. He got physically stronger, like superhuman strength. Well, it's just, kind of truth in plain sight. It's demonic possession, like the guy that Jesus set free, that was possessed by the demons. They bound him with chains and the strongest ropes they could find, and he would break them.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't his own strength. That was the strength of the demons, the legion of demons that were in him that Jesus cast out.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is so I don't want to get too off topic, okay, with all this and after this, because this applies to what you just said, but then we'll get back onto the alien stuff. But have you ever heard about when people have said, oh, they went berserk?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a spirit, and these Vikings used to possess this. They called it the berserker spirit, and when they embodied this, they were basically unstoppable, bro. Like you said, superhuman, and that's why it's like they went berserk. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of of other stuff like that, you know what I mean? But it's just one example as them embodying this spirit and then they act it out, and it's like they're superhuman. They can't be stopped in war. Superhuman strength, stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I never knew that. That's interesting. But yeah, I'm getting tagged in a lot of these videos about the drones and the UFOs and the orbs. And I just want people to know that there's absolutely nothing to fear. Okay. I certainly am not afraid of an alien invasion. I'm not afraid of the drones or the orbs or any of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a Christian, you have nothing to fear either, because Jesus gave us eternal life, and not a hair of your head will perish. That's literally what he said. Do you lose your physical body, you're just going to leave it. You're not going to actually die.
Mm-hmm.
Should the worst happen, But a lot of people have been asking me if I've seen these orbs, if I've seen these drones. Not lately. I have seen some weird stuff in the sky over the last 3 years doing all this, my telescopic observations. And I have seen drones fly over my home before. In fact, I was telling Caleb about it a while back. I may have told you too, but I can't remember. It's been a year or two ago. One actually came down directly over my house, and it kept coming closer and closer to me. And at first, I thought it was an airplane, because if you take a drone and if it's at the right height, it will actually, from our perspective, it'll look like an airplane because of its lights. The reason I knew it was an airplane is because it just kept coming closer and closer and closer. And eventually, I think it was about 10 feet above my head. And then I knew, I was like, dang, that's a drone. It's probably, I don't know, it's probably a foot, 2 foot drone, just, one of the small drones.
Well, did it make any noise?
No, very little. I couldn't really hear any noise. It was like whisper quiet. It was a really
I don't think you
quiet
saw a
drone.
drone.
Yeah, it was something like a drone.
No, I said I don't think you saw a drone.
Oh,
I think you may have seen an orb.
well, the reason I think it was a drone, I have seen these orbs too.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
it's
saying for
been
it
a
to be
while.
that quiet, because even the drones, like they'll have like a little whizzing noise from the propellers. It's like zzz, you know what I mean?
I'm thinking it's possible there was some noise and I just didn't hear it because it
You were
was.
just so focused on that on that thing that you
Yeah.
didn't realize, or you didn't recognize sound maybe.
Well, no, there's too many other sounds going on. It was in the summertime and there were cicadas that
Oh yeah.
you're in my house, they're loud. I mean, at
Yeah, same
nighttime,
here.
it's
Mhm.
all you can hear. So
Yeah.
I think that I just couldn't hear the drone over all the crickets and the cicadas and my 100-pound German Shepherd out there constantly barking too. There's just a lot going on. The reason I'm pretty sure it was a drone is I was messing with my telescope, just getting set up, and I pulled my cell phone out and I went to record this thing. And it had lights, these funky little lights all the way around it. But I kid you not, as soon as I pointed my cell phone at it, it turned its lights off and disappeared.
See, that's not a drone.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
can
think
turn the
that's
lights off on those drones.
Yeah, but how? Okay,
If
I'm
if
playing.
you
I'm playing the opposite end. How are they gonna know that you pointed a phone? Is it just like from their
camera
camera?
on it, yeah,
Okay.
they got most of them have cameras on it, and it was, I don't know if it's the government or who watching me or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it was a neighbor. But that's what made me think it's a drone, because I know most of them got cameras, and it was, it's seen me point my iPhone at it and it kills the lights. I don't know if it stayed there, but in
That's
in the
just
dead
weird.
of, it's weird. It spooked me. It creeped me out.
I
But
don't
in
know,
the
bro.
dead of night, if it shuts off its lights, it's going to be invisible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't see it. It's just like an airplane at nighttime. If they were to kill their lights, you would never see the airplane fly over.
Right.
All you can see is their lights. I
Yeah.
mean, it could have been an orb thing.
I think
it
you
was
saw
a
an orb.
drone. Hey, it could have been. I really don't know. It was
It's just
something.
weird. It's weird that it seems like it's too like calculated the way it happened. It came down, you noticed it, you pointed it, and then instantly it's out of there, or it's out of sight.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know.
I
I
mean,
think
it
it's
could
weird.
be me, the way, the way at the time, because at the time I was doing a lot of NASA videos, debunking NASA and kind of poking the bear. And I felt like it was them. I don't know, just what I felt like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just could have been way off base on that one, but that's what I felt like. And I know they've got drones to where they're sitting there controlling it, watching you, and all they got to do, push one button, kill the lights, it's gone at
Yeah.
nighttime. Now during the day you'd still see it, obviously, but I kind of felt like they were just sitting there just watching me. And oh
Yeah.
crap, he pulled out his camera, it's gonna get us on film, we better kill the lights.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a guy on I think might have been TikTok, and you could tell he was just some redneck guy, and he said this is what happens when you fly drones in the country, and I guess he shot one of them down or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he's like, you keep those in the city.
Yeah, I saw that video. That was a good
Did
one.
you?
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
hoping he would show the drone that he shot down, if he really did shoot it down.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of dumb too. You're showing the evidence and everything.
Yeah, I thought even if that was real, that's kind of stupid of him even posting that to begin with. That's
Yeah.
something like maybe, hey, this fell in my yard, but not, hey, I shut this down, you know?
Yeah. Because that's do you see the one the old man got arrested for shooting down a Walmart drone?
No.
Yeah, the
Walmart.
police. Yeah. It's this old man too, and he was a nice old man. The police come knock on his door and said, "Hey, did you happen to shoot at a drone earlier today around noon?" Sometime, I think he said noon. And the guy was honest, said, "Yeah, I shot at a drone." And he was in a suburb, like, a crowd, a suburb,
Yeah.
homes all over the place. And I don't think he ever told why he did it. But yeah, he was honest about it. And he's like, "Why? How much trouble am I in?" And the cop's like, "Well, since you're being honest with me, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're in a lot of trouble. It's at least one felony, and he named off a few different crimes, but two of them were felonies. He said it's a federal offense. So yeah,
Wow.
you're in a lot of trouble. So don't
Yeah.
go shooting at these drones, people."
Okay. That's lesson number 1. Okay. So lesson number 2, his second mistake. And I'm saying this from experience too, guys. So just take heed. Do not speak to police officers. All right.
Oh yeah.
Not like ever, because they truly mean it that anything you say can and will be held against you. So
Mm-hmm.
all he had to say is nothing. Like, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to speak to them.
Yeah.
So that's just one tip. Don't speak to police officers. And I say that from experience. And, I'll just tell you guys real quick. So, okay, so it'll be real quick. And I think, have I told you this before, Shane?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So I'll
Not
just tell you
sure.
guys real quick. So, I actually got arrested, believe it or not, guys. But
Mm.
it was funny the way it all happened, because I went to a house to go bid a job. I used to mow a lot of yards and stuff like that. I'm getting out of that now. I went to go look at this yard. I had my whole family with me, took them there, and I was walking the property to see all what I needed to do. And someone caught me on footage, and they said that I stole a duck from them, of all things. A duck.
A duck.
I'm a duck thief, in case anyone didn't know. I'm the duck bandit. But
Sorry, go ahead.
but no, I mean, I went and looked at this job, got back in my truck, went home. Like I said, I had my family with me. Apparently, because I drove a third generation Dodge truck. It was a 2006, and there was an almost identical truck to mine that was driving down the road. And the only problem with that truck, though, is it was a dually, and I don't own a dually. And I saw the footage, because I had to get a lawyer and everything. They had to show him. I'm like, dude, that's not my truck. And apparently this guy had some crates or something in the back of his truck. And honestly, it's hard to tell from the video, but apparently he stole a couple ducks, which, why would you want to do that? And they associated the truck with mine. And I don't even know how this happened. The cops showed up to my house at like 11 o'clock. We were already asleep in bed, and someone's like pounding on our door. And I'm like, what is going on? I grab the shotgun. I look, and there's like, I could see a light like this. And I'm just like, I could have made a mistake right there myself, So that, I mean, someone breaking into my house or whatever. And so they're talking to me from outside. So I go out, and they start asking me questions and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I was looking at a job, because I'm like, oh, I'm innocent. I'll just talk to them. It doesn't matter if you're innocent, guys. Trust me.
Yeah, no, it don't.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just talk to them. And then I told them, I'm like, yeah, I was looking at a job over there, blah, blah, blah. And they start saying, just tell us where the ducks are. Just tell us where they are. And I was like, no. I was like, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, I'm like looking around, am I getting punked or something? Like, ducks, what are you talking about? But anyways, because of what I said there, they showed up to my house a couple days later, and I wasn't home, thankfully. Otherwise, my whole family would have seen me get arrested in my yard. They they caught they told me to call them. I called them. They said, "Yeah, we just need to talk to you if you could come in, and we got a few questions." I was like, "Sure." So I go over there, my whole uh equipment, everything, all my work set up. I go to the sheriff's department, and they just say, "You're under arrest." I walked in, I basically turned myself in. I'm like, this is insane. But thankfully, we're in a pretty small town, and a guy that I knew the judge, and they let me out. But it would have sucked, bro, because I got arrested on a Friday evening. I would have had to stay there till Monday morning if I didn't know that guy over
Yeah.
something that I didn't do. So, guys, lesson learned: don't speak to the cops. I know from experience, I had to wear an orange jumpsuit. My children were crying, everything. It was a mess. I had to get a lawyer. And yeah,
Yeah.
just don't talk to the cops. So, but anyways, sorry
You,
to go on that little rant, but I mean
no, that was.
that was that guy's mistake right there. Yeah, I shot a drone.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
always have the right to plead the fifth, or
Yeah, plead the
just
fifth,
remain
guys.
silent, like you said.
Yeah. I don't feel comfortable speaking without my lawyer. That's all you have to say.
That's the
And
best thing to say.
they can't do anything about it. But I know
Yeah.
that's another topic, but I just had a need to share that just in case anyone doesn't know.
No, that was an interesting story. I didn't know. You'd never told me that. So were they was it like live ducks or yard ornament ducks?
Real life dogs.
Real ducks? Who would do
Yeah,
that,
because
man?
they apparently they were like pets to them, which I have chickens, I've had ducks, so I get it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And thankfully at the time, I would have probably got arrested right on the spot because my wife my wife likes chickens and all that, and we got ducks, and we realized, yeah, you don't want ducks. They're messy, they're loud, and stuff like that. But I couldn't even imagine if we had all the chickens and ducks at the time when they come in. They're like, "Yep, we got them."
Yeah, yeah. We got the duck thief.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Mhm.
That's a good story. I
Yeah,
like that.
little lighthearted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Just want to just kind of sum things up for everybody. This,
Mhm.
to me, this kind of tells you all you need to know. The same people that are telling you you need to be afraid of extraterrestrials and aliens and a mothership entering our solar system, those same people are the organization that was founded by people practicing the occult, people practicing witchcraft, black magic, necromancy, which is summoning demons, all sorts of evil wickedness, basically pure Satanism. The people that started this organization were devil worshippers and occultists, some of them Freemasons, or actually both, I think. And these people were heavily influenced by science fiction. Okay. So
Mm.
when you get somebody that's already obsessed over science fiction and they've got all these wild ideas in their heads, and then they start communicating with demons, and bringing the demonic realm into the picture, it's quite possibly they believe this crap themselves. I doubt it, but it's possible. But anyways, I'm just saying the people telling you to believe in a alien invasion or extraterrestrials and motherships, all that stuff, UFOs, they're the same people that's pushing science fiction novels and comic books and practicing satanic rituals and the occult. So why would you ever believe or trust a single word they say? If we as Christians, I hate it. I don't, but this is the truth. I care more about the body of Christ than I do everyone else, because at the end of the day, I can't, I can't help everywhere. We can't save the world. But what we can do is kind of keep the body of Christ, our listeners and stuff, on a firm foundation, keep you guys rooted in reality. And I can tell you for certain, if we needed to fear an extraterrestrial or alien invasion, it would be in the Bible. I really feel like it would. I think God would have warned us of it. Jesus would have warned us. One of the prophets, or many of the prophets, would have warned us about that. So I don't think that's ever going to be a thing. Some supernatural entities may come from the sky, you know, but those are angels or fallen angels, or either Jesus himself, whether it's the second coming or New Jerusalem, whatever, and it doesn't matter where we are in the timeline. I believe we're in Satan's little season, but yeah, you don't have to worry about it, guys. Especially if you're a Christian, you're covered by the blood of Christ. You have the Holy Spirit dwelling inside of you, and and I think 365 times the Bible tells us, "Have no fear," or "Fear not." It's a common theme repeated all throughout the Bible. So don't feed into propaganda. Don't feed into hysteria and the fear. Just just go about your business. Let your light so shine before men so that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. And always, always question the narrative. Ricardo?
That's right. That's right. And that's a very good summary, very good exhortation for us all, at the end of
Thank
the
you.
day. And I was gonna just maybe just make one more mention of something that I had thought of when you were just kind of talking about that, like the people who are telling us to believe a certain thing, or are the people that are working for the enemies, the propagandists and stuff. You know what I mean? So there have you ever heard of the ascended masters? Have you ever heard
Mm,
of that?
I believe so. I don't know much about it, but I know I've heard that
So
phrase.
so we were talking about Aleister Crowley, also Helena Blavatsky, and there's this other lady, and her name is Alice Bailey. Have you ever heard of her?
Yes.
Alice Bailey. Yeah, she's
Hmm.
another one, and she wrote a book herself about theosophy as well. Just like, I mean, the others. She followed their work too, and she was very popular as well. But I'm pretty sure that in her work that she does make mention about the ascended masters. So if anyone's listening and I got this wrong, just please let me know in the comments. But the ascended master thing is true. There's multiple ones, and there's one that's called they call him Lord Maitreya or Master Jesus. And apparently this Master Jesus is saying, like, basically like, I'm the real Jesus and the other one wasn't. And when he makes his appearance, apparently they're calling this the day of declaration. So it's like a revealing, like this alien thing, they're being revealed to us or whatever, but he's supposedly this being, and apparently manifested himself to certain people in the past.
Mm,
Don't know how true that is, but people have said that. And
okay.
it was like you could tell he was not like he was a supernatural something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in this day of declaration, watch, I was reading up right here. So it's saying, after Maitreya makes his emergence, and they're calling this the Day of Declaration, the Master Jesus in his immortal body will assume the papal throne for the next 2,000 years of the age of Aquarius. So, as we've been talking about, like, we're exiting the age of Pisces, correct? And
Yeah.
which was supposedly, that was the old ways, the Christians, but now we're entering into the age of Aquarius. That's what they say, right? And so that's basically, in a nutshell, real quick, about Lord Maitreya, lowercase l, and Master Jesus. It kind of goes along with that too, where he's revealing himself to us, and basically it's like they're our creator. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
And supposedly, I don't know if he's alive still, but there was a guy, and I forget what organization that he's part of, but he supposedly still summons this Master Jesus, and he speaks for him. I forget the guy's name. Yeah. I would have to look that up, but anyways, it does match up to what we're saying as well. So you got all these separate agendas that it's just like they're all just kind of culminating to this one vantage point. You know what I'm saying? They're all coming together for this one purpose, for this one goal, to deceive the nations into fighting Jesus and the camp of the saints. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I left a little fact out that I want to mention to everyone because I really wanted to put this into what I was saying about Werner von Braun. Did you guys know he wrote a book called The Mars Project?
That's right.
And the guy that colonizes Mars in that book, his name was Elon. And this book was written before Elon Musk was even born, long before. So if that doesn't tell you they're operating off of some type of playbook or script, I don't know what is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean
it's obvious.
It is. It is obvious. But yeah, I mean I think that's a good quitting spot right there. So yeah, we'll just close off with that, guys, and we appreciate you listening in, and we appreciate once again all your support. Share this with everyone you know. Get the word out, and also when you share the show, it'll also push us in the algorithm and show that people are listening, and they'll push it to more people as well. So we appreciate that, guys. And if you have any questions, comments, feel free to contact us at questionthenarrative@yahoo.com. We will do our best to respond to you guys and get back to you on that. And then also, guys, at the end of every show, there's a link. If you feel so inclined to do, you can click on that, support us, what we're doing here. We thank you. We love you. And God bless.
God bless.